I'll be honest with you. I think the biggest thing that you've helped me with is realize that protein is the answer. When my energy level started coming up, I've had dramatic
Mm.
improvements in my mood.
We've been, working together for, what has it been, a month, 2 months now? Just a little bit of time.
Approximately. Hmm.
Um, but like just curious to hear like general feedback as to like what you feel has been like a success for you. I know you mentioned on our last call that like the program and the results have been like helping out for sure, and you've been like feeling good. So just figured it'd be a good time to like share that with some people that are either a
Hmm.
already in my program and maybe other people that maybe are on the outside looking in thinking about joining. Like just like any feedback that you think could be helpful for them to know.
I would say the first thing is to look at your videos on mindset. And of course, I've been studying that on my own for my own writing, my own research. Mindset, and you say this, is absolutely essential for your success, whether that be in your training, your training program, or in your career, whatnot. So I would say that a mindset, and I was watching something you said today. I'm thinking you were talking about where exercise has taken you, right? How it has improved your life. And it's not so much how you look or, the actual exercises per se. What I understood you to say is it's the journey of improving yourself and building that determination. Was that a correct interpretation? That's kind of what I felt like you were
Definitely.
saying.
Yeah,
So I would
definitely.
say that it's mindset. And, one of the things that's difficult for somebody who's not an athlete, right? If you don't see yourself as being an athlete. So one of the things that's really helped me is to stop seeing myself as anything but an athlete because you know what? I'm a windsurfer, so I am an athlete, right? And so if I see the way a person sees himself is going to impact that resistance as you talk about. If they see themselves as not being able to do something, their body's going to take that subconscious clue and give them a lot of resistance, if that makes any sense. So um, I would say that your mindset, and also I would agree completely not getting too focused on all the minor details. Like, for instance, the weigh-ins. I would also say look at the bigger picture because, like you said, it all has to do with your water retention, right? And there's so many factors that go into weight. And if you're looking at your weight every single day, you're going to see it's fluctuating. So that helped me to try to think about the bigger picture and to not be so obsessed over numbers or fat caliper readings, right? I mean, I want my percentage of body fat to go down, but I also want that to be done in a safe and healthy manner, right? So if you're losing too much too fast, I don't know that that's the best way to go about it. I'd rather it be slow and steady, right, than to just suddenly boom. So I would say
Sure.
mindset is the most important thing starting out, and to just give those exercises a try, and to not start out using too much weight. If you start like what I do is, let's say I've had a really heavy day at work, like lifting all that dog food. I went through your exercise program, but what I had to do was stagger my weight, right? So I started out with like 10 pounds instead of the maximum, kind of worked my way up. And you know what? The soreness kind of went away as I was exercising. Does that make sense? So I followed what you said about the protein. And what I did is I gave myself time to recovery, right? Because I knew I'd moved a lot of dog food all day. So I gave my body 4 hours. I didn't even try and work out till 8 o'clock at night, right? Because I didn't have the energy to work out. So what I did is I took me some protein shakes, built up my protein, let my body drink some water, let it recover. And then guess what? My energy came back and boom, I went through it. So that would be what I would say if you're starting out. Don't get focused on all the little minor things. Try to look at the bigger picture and think about it as being a process.
That's a good point that you brought up. I think the way I'd term that is, imperfect action. I think a lot of people get caught in the beginning of like, I have to be perfect.
Right.
And sometimes so I appreciate you sharing that. Sometimes there's even been times with people that are in the program now or people that I've worked with in the past where they've come to me and they're like, hey, let's do 4 days a week of a program. And I'm like, whoa, we're coming from doing zero. Let's, work our way into this because we don't want to burn out and
Mhm.
do too much all at once. And then, oh, I can't manage all this. Right. It's like slow and steady wins the race, like you said. So, and that's like, of course, the plan is like as we progress, we get stronger, we build up these habits. Now we can just add more to the fire,
Mhm.
and then like starts to improve other areas of life, right? So I appreciate the feedback on that. And it's like good to know for some people that like might be stuck with their own journey, whether or not they're in my program or they're just watching the video when we post this. So it's like, hey, there's not always going to be like this exponential curve. Like there are times where things plateau and stagnate, and so like when it comes to for you, for example, like the check-in photos, the weigh-ins, the consistency of everything, you might see some fluctuations of up and down, up and down, up and down. But now, like if we look back at the scale, like we're trending in the direction we want to go, right? And it's like over the grand scheme of past like 6 to 8 weeks, even it's like we're down like 9, 10 pounds, right? And like,
Right.
I know it's gone up a little bit, come back down, gone up a little bit, come back down. But if we look from beginning to end, it's like
Mm.
more so a matter of like just being patient and letting everything play out. So that helps for sure. And I guess like, what would you say to somebody that's like maybe on the fence about joining my program, or thinking that like working with a coach in the online setting might work for them, but they're not sure if it's like a move? Like, what would you say to that type of person? Maybe like I work with just men, right? So like maybe a man in your shoes, whether similar age or younger, a little bit older, like what would you say to somebody in that, like that type of person?
Well,
In
first
terms
thing
of
I would
like
say,
in terms of like what you thought about the program prior to being in the program versus now on the inside, I guess that makes sense.
well, I mean, I think a person needs to look and make sure that the program that they're getting is top notch, right? Because I've looked at a lot of different programs, and what they would do, and I'm not saying those approaches are wrong, but I think the approach you use is a holistic approach, and that's very important with the nutrition. I've seen where some people get these real strict, don't eat this, don't eat that kind of stuff, right? And I don't, that just doesn't seem to be helpful, right? It's better to do the way you do it, where you say, hey, here's X number of calories, get your micronutrients. And so here's what I do when I'm eating and I'm logging it, right? You know what I'm doing? I'm noticing how much I'm getting. And so I don't have to tell myself, don't eat this, don't eat that. But hey, I'm going to get more protein. So what have I got? So it kind of, by tracking your calories and tracking what you're eating, not just calories, but all that, what you're doing is helping you make better informed choices. Like today, not feeling good, right? So I just haven't ate much, but I wanted to meet my protein, right? Because I know tomorrow I've got to go to work sling a lot of milk. If I don't have the protein today, I'm gonna be weaker tomorrow. So I decided when I was going to eat supper to include more meat, right? Like if you look at what I allowed tonight, I did more meat than normally. I don't normally eat a lot of meat, but I need that protein, right? Because if I go in tomorrow with a deficit, I'm gonna be more sore. Does that make sense? So I think you have what I call a wholesome approach that gives people latitude, because if people try to make too drastic a changes, it's going to lead to burnout. So if something is too strict, it's going to be very difficult to follow it, right? I think it's better to adapt, wouldn't you agree, to a lifestyle of thinking about what you're putting in your body and choosing the best options instead of just trying to avoid, like you said, avoiding certain things or seeing certain things as good or bad. Try to look at what do I have available? What can I purchase? What can I eat? And what is going to give me the optimal results? That's what I would say. You and I both know there are a large number of people on Instagram who are posting every day, do this, do that, and there's a lot of information out there. But what people really need, I think, to be successful is a relationship. And that's what you offer, John. You offer a relationship because people need that relationship. If you can't trust who you're working with, right? And it's more of a result driven. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people getting himself in good shape and taking pictures of it, but then there's a certain extent where people are just doing that, right, more to show off than they are to make how should I say it, sustainable progress. See, I want sustainable progress. I'm not trying to look like a model, but I want to be functionally fit, and that's what you offer. So like I said, there's a lot of different people who are out there, but their programs don't integrate what yours does, and they're missing some of those key parts. As I looked at several, so that's what I would say. And to give, like you said, to give the program time. This isn't something where you're going to do it the first week or two and lose 25 pounds and you're going to magically look like somebody, right? So
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
that's really good insight for sure. I think especially with like people I've spoken with in the past, they've said like, oh yeah, like I lost 30 pounds, in like a month or 2 months, but then 6 months down the line they regain all the weight back, and it's like, what happened? It's like, oh, it just wasn't sustainable. And it's like, well, you might as well have just lost 5 pounds but kept it off, right? That's at least the way I look at things. And that's like for me, what I've always noticed, just making sure it's like easy to follow through with is most important. And then if we're
Mhm.
consistent, and we're making progress, then yeah, we can start to lose more. But like, let's just take one step at a time. Like one
Right.
layer of brick at a time is the way I like to term it.
Right.
Uh,
And I'll say
uh,
this too about business, right? Because today I went and had my first official, whatever you want to call it, consultation with a lady who she's a master social worker, right? MSW. And so she helped me, gave me guidance. And she's working with me on my career planning. And what she said, it's the same thing. Take it one step at a time. So look at what you can do right now under that's legal, right? It's not malpractice. Um, and there's a great many things I can do. And so she's, I think that people need to seek out guidance when you're trying to make changes in your life, get good opinions, invest, have people in your life who will speak truth. John, does that make sense? Um, you're somebody who's spoken truth in my life by saying, "Hey, Lee, you don't need to stay where you're at. You need to do better." And so you've helped me in that realm of thinking of how I can be better, because I think that we want to grow right spiritually, emotionally, and as you're helping us with physically too. All three of those things need to work together for us to be healthy.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think they all, correlate, right? And it's like if you have one of them lacking, it's just a matter of time before you don't feel fulfilled and the other starts to, carry over.
Mhm.
But if you have, mental, physical, like spiritual, everything, you know, you're gonna notice like
Yeah.
what's possible. A lot of the people I speak with, they say like their mindset is like something that, starts to really improve when they put their fitness first. And then
Mhm.
I often hear that it carries over into, other areas of their
Mhm.
life, like their career, etc. And like that's something that I've always noticed for myself personally. So it's cool to hear you kind of give a little bit of insight there.
Well, I think you would agree as somebody who played sports, right? You were, I remember seeing you did what, cross country or track? Did you track and field cross
I
country?
did both, yeah, back in
You
the
did
day.
both. Okay.
Back
So,
in the day.
so you did cross country. You also did basketball, right? And those, the abilities um, you had some victories, I hope, right? Where you had some victories.
Yeah,
And I think people need those victories and you build upon that victory, right? It gives you confidence is what I'm trying to say. And when you start seeing success, it builds up your confidence. So you're better at what you're doing, not necessarily arrogant. There's a difference there. It's more of a true humility and confidence. And I think, need to have both of those, right? To be successful. So, because I feel better, I'll be honest with you, when I'm at work, I'm in a better mood. Let's just be honest with you. When you have more energy, you're in a better mood, right? It also helps you resist burnout. It helps you resist negativity. It helps you resist all the things that are, that's in the world that's negative. So when I'm not constantly tired because I'm in better shape, my energy levels are better, then guess what? Things don't impact me as much. I have more resilience is the word I want to use right there is resilient. So
isn't it crazy how like the small changes start to just improve and compile up? And we're like I said, a month or maybe 2 months in. It's like just look to see what's to come, in 3 months, 6 months,
yeah.
right?
And then think about windsurfing season will be coming up here soon. I mean, right now it's not optimal. It's cold or yucky, but where I really get out and do the things I love to do. So I'm looking forward to being able to have the strength to do that. And it makes the other things that you're having to deal with in your life be a little bit more bearable because you can say, well, I've got to deal with this from 7 to 4, but guess what? Come 4:30, I'm gonna be outside and I'm gonna be doing what I love to do. And you
That's what
need
it's all
that
about.
too, right? In your life as well. We all need that. So yeah, so there's definitely, like you said, progress. Um, Progress is contagious too, because when you're doing well, then you also lift the people up around you. So when I'm doing better at work, guess what? I'm kinder with my coworkers. They don't bother me as much, right? Because I've got resilience. Now, when I'm all tired and run down, you know how it is. You get grumpy, right? I mean, I think everybody's grumpy when they're tired.
I think so, yeah.
Right.
Well,
So, getting proper sleep, doing proper nutrition. I'll be honest with you. I think the biggest thing that you've helped me with is realize that protein is the answer. When my energy level started coming up, I've had dramatic
mm,
improvements in my mood. I mean, considering some of the traumatic things I've been through, you think about it, a lot of people are on all kinds of medication and have had to be hospitalized. And guess what? I haven't had to do that because I've been able to deal with that. I've been able to heal from that. And so now that my energy level is coming up, I just generally feel a whole lot better, right? So that now when I'm working with people who have trauma and things in their life, guess what? I've got the energy to do it because I'm not tired and run down all the time. So I'm better all around and more resilient. So, and you've helped me with that by helping me get those energy levels up and also work on mindset. Once again, that mindset's so critical, and I think you're completely correct on your mindset.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate the feedback, Lee.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's all I kind of got for today's call.
Okay, yeah,
I know
yeah,
you're
that'll work.
doing a little bit of, a new business venture. If
Yeah.
anybody's like watching this video and now, wants to hear more about that, it's like, and check out maybe your website. Like, do you want to like, I can link it in the video below, but do you want to like give a brief, like what that is in a nutshell, in case anybody listening is
Well,
hear more about that?
sure. They can check it out at www.wordsoфencouragementinChrist, where I have a series of articles where I'm addressing trauma, toxic workplace, a lot of the common issues people have in their daily life with links. And then in the future, if I start doing one-on-one, I will do it through that site, if that makes any sense. So primarily right now, I'm going to be working by referral where my pastor, somebody, or somebody reads the website or whatnot. So I'm in the process here of getting that, plus kind of looking at seeing what other opportunities are there. So definitely.
That's awesome. Well, I'll link the website below. I'll have you just give me the URL for that. And
Sure.
then if anybody's interested, they can click it or they can message me on Instagram. But that's pretty much all I got for today's call. Super grateful to be working with you and seeing that like you're making solid results and like happy about joining the program and excited to see what's to come these next few months.
Right. And hopefully, John, you're continuing to grow as well because you're on a path
Definitely.
of growth too, right? You seem like you're really finding, you seem like you have found your calling. And there are many people who are still searching for that. I know. And if just so you know, I know this is a little thing, but that's kind of what my website is about, is helping people find their purpose through their religious experience. So, and it's all free resources. Nobody has to pay. They can just simply get on that website and read it for free. If they have a question, want me to write an article, send me a message, and I'll be glad to explore it and write. So